So in the last class, we are dealing with some loop function, and today we will proceed from there. Let's see how we can proceed. Please hold just a minute. Please hold. There is some problem in my machine. Please hold.
Hello, Shantanuda, are you there?
Yes, there is few problem in my machine.
Oh, okay.
So in the last class, I had told you the break and continue statement. Break and continue statement. So in the break statement, is it using the while loop? We know that the while loop and for loop. You can use both the loop and you can use a for loop as well as in the while loop for break and continue statement. So in the while loops in break statement, the in the while loop, I use this initialize the counter with I equal to 2, and then I uses this loop where I is the counter is the loop will iterate up to with the value which will be less than 10. It starts with 2, and the statement will be break
Hello, sir.
when the value of the I is equal to 5.
Sir, your voice is not clear, sir. Some noise is coming.
So the value the statement will be executed the front start with the starting value with the 2, and it will break down. The statement will not execute it when the value is equal to 5. The statement will be break from the loop. So it shows 2, 3, 4, and 5. After that, it will not be executed, as the break statement is measured, is said over here, is mentioned over here. So it will be executed from starting with 2, 3, 4, and 5, as it is the value is less than 8. So the output will be 2, 3, 4, and 5. And after that, the break statement is made over here. So the rest of the statement will be not executed. Now the rest of the values will be not shown in the, we will not able to show in the output. So this is the break statement. In the continue statement, the present iteration in the previous iteration first complete, and then the next iteration will go, right? So it will continue from I equal to 5. After here, the 5 is missing over here. Since I mentioned that the value after 5, it will continue to iterate. So this is the continuous statement. So the previously it will go up to the, so the previous iteration is from 1, 2, 3, and 4, and after that the value will be executed. The next iteration will be executed at it starts with the 5. So this is continuous statement. So this is break and continuous statement. Now today we will see dictionary.
Sir, you are not audible.
Is it audible now?
Yes, sir.
what I had told over here is that in the break statement, it starts with the value of 2 as I initialize with the counter equal I equal to 2, and the value of I is less than 8. The loop will iterate up to the value 8. But since the break statement is said over here, so the loop will iterate from 2 to 5. This is break statement. In the continue statement, the I equal to 5. So the previous iteration will complete and the next iteration will go up to 15. So the output will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. But here the next iteration starts from over here. So it will iterate. Now today we will see the dictionary. Now what is the dictionary?
Again, sir, your audio is not audible.
Is it audible now?
Yes, sir.
What is a dictionary? A dictionary is a collection of items which is
স্যার আপনার অডিওটা খুব আস্তে আসছে।
unordered, changeable, and indexed. In Python, dictionaries are written with curly braces and have the key values and have key and values. So this is a dictionary. A dictionary is a collection of items which is unordered. Unordered as well as it is changeable, that is it can be mutable and indexed, right? But in the tuple is not unmutable, and but this is mutable, and it is unordered. That means in the items are not arranged in a proper sequence, but it is indexed. In Python, the dictionaries are also represented with like set. The dictionaries are also represented with the curly braces. So if I write the how we define a dictionary, so I define dictionary equal to, suppose if I write name, suppose I write the name is John, and age, just a minute. Suppose the age is 54. And I write the address. Suppose the address is 3 Castle Road. Right. After that, I want to print the dictionary. So the dictionary, in the dictionary, it is what are the key and what are the values. So here the field name, these field name are called as the keys, and the corresponding values of the field name are called as the value. So these are basically the keys and these are basically the values. So the dictionary is defined in this way. So for each of the key, the corresponding value, the name is a key, the corresponding is a character, the age is a key with the corresponding value is a numerical, and the address is a key, the corresponding value is alphanumeric. So this is basically the dictionary is defined in this way. So if I want to modify the dictionary, right? What should I do? Suppose I want to modify it. So if I change the name Harry, and if I write mm, হ্যালো, আমি একটু পরে বলবো, কথা বলবো। Date, name equal to, sorry, suppose so the name is changed. So in this way I can modify the dictionary. Can you able to add the items in a dictionary? Can you able to add the item in a dictionary? If I want to add the item in a dictionary, what should I do? Is it audible? Is it audible to you?
Yes, sir.
If I want to add the item in a dictionary, what should I do?
Sir, don't know, sir.
Anybody?
By using add function.
What should I write over here?
Update, sir.
I'm not talking about update. I'm talking about adding the items in the dictionary. So what should I do over here?
Sir, should we use insert?
What should I write?
Don't know, sir.
Oh, with the dict, I will write dict. Suppose location, not location. Suppose if I
স্যার আপনার ভয়েসটা শোনা যাচ্ছে না, একটু জোরে বলুন।
landmark, if I write Western Western Bridge. Then if I want to print the dictionary, so this is the so this is basically adding the items in a dictionary.
Sir, is there any
So-
other method to add item in
So
the dictionary?
no. We cannot use any method like insert, update, and delete. Why? Because in the dictionary, I had told you, these are basically the field. That is the keys. What are the keys? The keys are basically the field name, and the corresponding the values are inserted with the field name. So with here we can, so whatever, if we want to add the items in the dictionary, I have to add the key value, and the adding of the key value will be done within this third bracket, within the third bracket. So adding the item to the dictionary can be done by using this new index key value. So adding this item in the dictionary within this third bracket means I am adding the item with a new index value. This third bracket signifies the index key. So this is key, the key. So I am inserting another index, that is another key, with respect to the another value. So in this way we can able to add the item in the key in the dictionaries. So if we want to add a particular item in the dictionary, we have to add the index key, a new index key value, and then we can able to add the item in the dictionaries, right? So these are basically the index, these are basically the keys, and I have to add this key. If I want to add another key, then I have to define that particular key within the index, and within that index the corresponding key value will be stored. So in this, and the value in the key in the dictionary, if we want, and the adding of the key value in the dictionary is always be added at the end of the dictionary, not at the middle of the dictionary. This is one of the drawbacks. I think you can able to do the pop items and the deal method in the dictionary. After this adding the items in the dictionary, you can do these things, the pop method and the del method in the dictionary. Will you able to do this? Will you able to do this? The pop method? Is it audible? Hello, is it audible?
Yes, sir, audible.
Can you able to do the pop method?
Yes, sir.
Then say how can we able to do this? The pop method in the dictionary.
Don't know, sir.
The same way, the same fashion as we learned in the list, as we learned in tuple, as we learned in the set, the same method is used in the dictionary. Nothing new. We should use dict dot pop method, pop the item I want to pop, that should be enclosed in this double quote. If I want to the item, if I want to remove the key value, say address, then it will be pop out. See, hello? একটু পরে করবেন। Yes. This is pop method, plain and
একটা
simple.
কোয়েশ্চেন ছিল, পপ মেথডে তো স্যার লাস্ট যে ইয়েটা থাকতো অপশনটা থাকতো সেটা রিমুভ হতো। যদি অর্গানাইজ না থাকে তাহলে যে কোনো একটা রিমুভ হতে পারে। তাহলে এখানে স্যার পার্টিকুলার আমরা
হ্যাঁ, আমি এখানে ডিকশনারির ক্ষেত্রে তো আমি সেরকম লিস্ট বা টাপল বা সেটের মতো কোনো একটা পার্টিকুলার আইটেম লাস্ট আইটেমটাকে ডিলিট করে সেটা পপ আউট হয়ে যাচ্ছে সেটা তো নয়। আমি এখানে প্রত্যেকটা ক্ষেত্রে কি দেখছি যে কোনো একটা পার্টিকুলার ফিল্ডের রেসপেক্টে আমি আইটেমকে ইনসার্ট করছি বা কোনো একটা পার্টিকুলার ফিল্ডের রেসপেক্টে আমি আইটেমটাকে মডিফাই করছি, কোনো একটা পার্টিকুলার ফিল্ডের রেসপেক্টে আমি আইটেমটাকে ডিলিট করছি।
স্যার কোয়েশ্চেনটা ওটা ছিল না, কোয়েশ্চেনটা ছিল স্যার পপে মানে পপ ফাংশনে এখানে আমরা পার্টিকুলার কোনো একটা ফিল্ডকে ইয়ে করছি, সিলেক্ট করছি, মানে অ্যাড্রেস বা হোপ বা অন্য কিছু। তো শুধুমাত্র পপ ফাংশন দিয়ে যে কোনো একটা কিছুকে ওড়ানো যাবে না, মানে আমি সেই কোয়েশ্চেনটা করছি। মানে
হ্যাঁ, তুমি সেটা তুমি পপ দিয়ে তুমি পপ ডট এজ দাও, পপ ডট নেম দাও, উড়ে যাবে।
না স্যার, শুধু পপ ফাংশন, কোনো আমি কোনো কিছু আমি ওখানে ইয়ে করবো না। না
না, তাহলে ও বুঝবে কি করে তুমি কোনটা পপ আউট করতে চাইছো?
না স্যার, আমি র্যান্ডম কোনো একটাকে পপ করতে চাইছি ওখানে।
সে র্যান্ডম করলে তুমি করতে পারো,
ওটাই জিজ্ঞেস করছি স্যার, এখানে ওটা
র্যান্ডম করলে তুমি করতে পারো। আর যদি তুমি স্পেসিফাই করতে চাও তাহলে তোমাকে একটা স্পেসিফাই ফিল্ড স্পেসিফাই করে সেটা পপ আউট করতে হবে।
স্যার এই ক্ষেত্রে, হ্যালো স্যার,
হুম। হ্যাঁ, বলো বলো।
এই ক্ষেত্রে যদি আমি অ্যাড্রেসটা যদি না দিই তাহলে কি আমার শুধু অ্যাড্রেসটা কি মানে
যে কোনো একটা পপ আউট হয়ে যাবে।
তাহলে তো অ্যাড্রেসটাই হওয়া উচিত না, এটা তো লাস্টে আছে যেহেতু।
হ্যাঁ, আমি কোনো একটা ফিল্ডকে স্পেসিফাই করলাম তাই ওই অ্যাড্রেসটা পপ আউট হয়ে গেল। এবার তুমি যদি কোনো স্পেসিফাই না করো যে কোনো একটা পপ আউট হয়ে যাবে।
ওকে স্যার, এটাই জানা, ঠিক আছে।
ঠিক আছে।
স্যার বলছি এখানে স্যার অ্যাড্রেসে তো শুধুমাত্র একটা অ্যাড্রেস আছে, যদি এখানে একাধিক অ্যাড্রেস থাকতো আর কোনো পার্টিকুলার কোনো স্পেসিফিক
তাহলে
অ্যাড্রেস,
অ্যাড্রেস 1, অ্যাড্রেস 2, অ্যাড্রেস 3 করে করতাম।
মানে সেই অ্যাড্রেসটা আমাকে মেনশন করতে হতো ওই
হুম হুম। ঠিক আছে।
স্যার
আমরা ডিকশনারি আরো নেক্সট দিন আরো দেখবো। আমরা একটা এখন অন্য জায়গায় চলে যাচ্ছি।
স্যার আপনার ভয়েসটা শোনা যাচ্ছে।
নেক্সট দিন আরো ডিকশনারি আরো কিছু দেখবো, আমরা একটু এখন অন্যদিকে যাবো।
স্যার।
Yes. Python, mm, the three main library functions. One is called the NumPy, another is pandas, another is called the SciPy. So these three main library functions, this NumPy and pandas are widely used in machine learning as well as in statistical analysis. SciPy is basically used in the neural networks. So, and natural language processing, NLP, the SciPy can be used. But in NumPy and Pandas, these are basically used in the machine learning and statistical analysis. So we will start with the NumPy. In NumPy is a Python library which work with arrays, right? It basically works with arrays. Not only it works with the arrays, it also works with other functions are also can be in for implementation of other functions. The NumPy can be used. What are they? They are basically NumPy is used in basically the linear algebra, right? That is in matrix, that is we can use in determinants and complex variable and others. So NumPy can be used in linear algebra. NumPy also can be used in Fourier series. Fourier series and Fourier transform. Fourier transform and it can also be used in Laplace transform too. Laplace transform, right? NumPy also can be used in another domain. In mathematical, another domain is numerical analysis. Numerical analysis, right? So NumPy also, as I told you, NumPy can also be used in the these are basically the uh, the higher algebra part, and the next is the NumPy is also used in the statistical analysis. In statistical analysis. in statistical analysis where it is used in all probability distribution, all the probability distribution, right? Starting from the uniform distribution, starting from the continuous function to discrete function. NumPy are also used in scientific computing, and NumPy is also used in multidimensional generic data that is a part of the mathematics. And NumPy can also be used in manipulating the different kinds of time domain analysis. So these are the applications where the NumPy can be used. And if I want this NumPy is basically this it's a library function which is inbuilt in the Python. So if I want to do work on the NumPy, I have to import that library function from from the Python, and then I can able to use the NumPy, right? So I have to import that particular library from the Python, and then I can able to implement the NumPy, the different functions of NumPy. So we will start with the basic things of NumPy, and then we will proceed to the statistical part.
স্যার আপনার ভয়েসটা খুব আস্তে আসছে।
We will first start with the basic things, and then we will go to the statistical part, right? So
Sir, you are not audible.
okay, is it audible now? So for doing any NumPy function, I have to import the NumPy and I have to give an alias name of NumPy, that is NP. So I'm importing the NumPy from the Python, and I have to write import NumPy as NP. Suppose I have to create an array of NumPy. So NumPy means an array. So array equal to, if I define it like this, ARR array equal to NP dot array, right? Then I am enlisting the different values over here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? Then I'm printing the array. See, the output and the array is shown over here. So this is the just how the numpy can be defined. Right. So this is you can also say that this is a creation of an array. Right. A numpy array can be created like this. Now, if I want to create a two-dimensional array in NumPy, what should I do? So this is a just a one-dimensional or one-dimensional array. Now, if I want to create a two-dimensional array, can you say if I want to create a two-dimensional array, what should I do? If I want to create a two-dimensional array, what should I do?
So add a square bracket and put the values.
What?
Add one more square bracket to it.
I will write suppose 1, 2, 3. And then I'm using another array. Suppose it is 4, 5, and 6. And suppose 8. Right. Now if I want to print the array,
স্যার আপনি তো আগেই ইম্পোর্ট করেছেন নামপাই, তাহলে আবার সেই কোডটা রিপিট করার কোনো দরকার ছিল?
I say ERR equal to
You are not audible, sir.
np dot ERRAY and if I write 1, 2, 3, and I write 4, 5, 8. Mm, Then if I write print ERR and if I again write So what is the error had happened over there? Because in NumPy, the output value, whatever I am, the output is shown in the form of the matrix. When I am saying in a two-dimensional array, that means this matrix is basically uh, what dimension of the matrix is? What is the dimension of the matrix?
Which one, sir?
2D.
What is the dimension of the matrix? This 1, 2, 3, and here again it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. What is the dimension of the matrix?
2D, sir. 2-dimensional.
3.
How many rows and columns are over here? One is
2
1
rows,
cross
3 columns.
1 cross 3, and again it is 1 cross 3.
2
So
cross
the
3.
yes, so there is basically the scaling of the two matrix. The scaling of the two matrix should be identical. If the scaling of the two matrix is not identical, then it will show an error. And in the form of, when I am saying in the form of a two-dimensional array, then the this the array is basically a function, right? In the function, I am inserting the matrix value 1, 2, 3. Again, I am inserting 4, 5, 8. This is basically, this matrix is basically must be enclosed by the two third brackets, right? That means the matrix value, this third bracket denotes they are in the form of the list, right? So this this matrix value and this matrix value are enclosed in the form of the list, and after that the numpy, since in the form are showing in the form of array, then I have to give the third bracket over here because the numpy deals with the array. NumPy deals with the array. So whatever the output will come, it will come in the form of the matrix. So when these two bracket, this bracket, the outer third bracket and this outer third bracket represents the matrix. The outer this bracket and this bracket represents the matrix, and this bracket and this bracket, this bracket and this bracket represents the values are in the form of list. So if the list, so these values are basically stored in the form of list, and the list is enclosed in the matrix, so the output will be shown in the form of the matrix, right? So in a two-dimensional array, if I want to show in the two-dimensional array, then it will show in the form of the matrix. This outer bracket, remember this outer bracket and this outer bracket signifies that the values should are arranged in the form of matrix, right? You will show me in a 3D array how you will show. If I want to move, if I want to create a third 3D array in the NumPy, how you can able to show?
স্যার কমা দিয়ে আরেকটা থার্ড ব্র্যাকেট দিয়ে তো আরেকটা আরো 3টে ভ্যালু অ্যাড করে দিলে তো 3D অ্যারে হয়ে যাবে স্যার।
তুমি তোমার মেশিনটাকে শেয়ার স্ক্রিন করবে?
স্যার আমি পড়ছি না স্যার, আমি জাস্ট ভিডিওটা দেখছি স্যার।
তুমি আমাকে করে দেখাও, মানে আমি এখানে তুমি তোমার মেশিনের স্ক্রিনটাকে আমাকে এখানে শেয়ার করে দাও। আমি স্টপ শেয়ারিং করে দিচ্ছি।
স্যার আমি কোডিং করছি না স্যার, আমি জাস্ট আপনার লেকচারটা শুনছি, জাস্ট আমি বললাম।
তুমি নেক্সট দিন করে দেখাতে পারবে আমায়?
Definitely, sir. পারবো।
আমি নামপ্যাড আরো অনেক জিনিসগুলো করাবো, তার আগে আমি একটা জিনিস তোমাদের দেখিয়ে দিচ্ছি। এই মেটেরিয়ালটা আমি তোমাদের দিয়ে দিচ্ছি, এটা দেখবে।
স্যার আপনার স্ক্রিনটা আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি না।
এখানে নামপ্যাডের কিছু জিনিস করা আছে, এগুলো তোমরা করবে। ইম্পোর্টিং অ্যান্ড এক্সপোর্টিং, কিভাবে আমি একটা সিএসভি ফাইলকে ইম্পোর্ট করব, তার কিছু কমান্ড এখানে দেওয়া আছে। অ্যারে কি করে করতে হয়, 1 ডাইমেনশন, এটা আমি দেখালাম 2 ডাইমেনশনাল। এরপর এতগুলো জিনিস রয়েছে,
So
সেগুলো
can you
একটুখানি
teach in English, sir?
সরি,
Can you teach in English?
yes. So these are for creating arrays, how the array can be created. Now, by one I, what is I function, I will explain to you. Now, this is this ones, that is identity matrix, line space, right? These are basically the function. Random and rand, these are very important, I will explain to you later. You just go through this material, inspecting properties, different properties are over here. Array shape, that is what I'm telling, that is the scaling of the matrix. The matrix can be scaled by this shape function. The matrix can be measured by the size function. Then copying and reshaping, the reshaping is very important. So that is what I'm saying, that if if one matrix is 2 cross 3, another matrix is 2 cross 5, so you have to scale that particular matrix. So how that can be scaled, that is important. So that method, that the shape method can be used to scale the matrix. So this is for scaling. Copying, the sorting of matrix is very important, this is sort function. This is reshaping and resizing. You have to if I want to create, if the two matrix are in, one is 2:3, another is 5:10, but if I want to make it 2:3, then I have to use reshape function. Then how can be done, that is reshape function. This is adding and removing the elements from the matrix, that is adding and removing element. Combining and splitting method, these are concatenation function and splitting method. Indexing and slicing method, these are all indexing and slicing method.
স্যার
Scalar,
নেক্সট আপনি পড়াবেন তো এগুলো স্যার?
yes, but I will give this material to you, right? You go through this material. And scalar maths, the skill, this I will add, subtract, divide, how the two matrix can be added, how can the the multiplication of the matrix. The vector math is over here. Then some statistical functions. This is basically the short, this is the concise form of the concise material of numpy array. Now I will give this material to you, you go through this. If there is any problem, you can WhatsApp me, you can call me, and I can show in the next class, right? So this is NumPy for number 1. Since you go to the fast track, that's why I'm telling. Then this is for pandas, right? uh, For pandas, these are all pandas function for importing the data. The data can be imported from how this data CSV file, how we can able to create a CSV file, and how the data can be imported from there. That is for pandas importing the data. I will show this from Excel, from the table, particular table, from SQL query, and JSON and HTML URL file. URL, the how can be URL can be imported into the pandas, into the this Python environment. Then exporting the CSV file, exporting the Excel, exporting the JSON, and exporting SQL. These are creating the test objects, right? Data frame and data series. I will show these few things over here. There are lots of things over here, but I will show a few things. Viewing and inspecting the data, that is data frame. This is DF, right? DF signifies data frame. I will show the DF head, DF tail, DF shape, and DF info function, DF describe, DF apply. Then selection method, right? This is the selection method. This is data cleaning. Drop on a field, replace. This drop on a function is very important for cleaning. Replace method, right? Filter method and sort, group by clause are over also here. Then joining method, and then some few statistical functions. Now, if this thing, if I want to start from over here, and if I want to explain line by line, then this pandas will take 10 to 12 class to complete. And similarly in case of NumPy. Now it is better, since you people want to go in a fast track, so it is better to go these things. If there is any problem, then I can able to sort out. I will solve that particular problem in the class,
স্যার
right? Yes.
স্যার বলছি যে প্যান্ডাস আর হচ্ছে যেটা বলে নামপাই, এখান থেকে স্যার আমাদের ডেটা অ্যানালিটিক্সে যতটুকু লাগে স্যার সেইটুকু আমাদেরকে একটু যদি আমাদের লিস্টটা একটু দেখিয়ে দিতেন, সেটাই মানে এতগুলো ফাংশন আমি জানি না আমাদের লাগবে কিনা, অতগুলো যতটুকু স্যার আমাদের মিনিমাম জানলে হবে সেগুলো যার একটু যদি স্যার ওভারভিউ দিয়ে দিতেন।
আচ্ছা, আমি এটা দিয়ে দিলাম পুরোটা, ঠিক আছে? তাও পুরোটা না, এটা মানে হাফ দিলাম প্যান্ডাসের। এটা আমি বানিয়েছি, বানিয়ে তোমাদের জন্য, জন্য বানিয়েছি, হাফটাই দিলাম। প্যান্ডাস আরো বড় আছে, আরো আছে। তা সেটার মধ্যে এবার যেটুকু ডেটা সায়েন্সে লাগবে সেটা আমি দেখিয়ে দিচ্ছি। তা এখন আমি কিছুটা দেখিয়ে দিচ্ছি, এক মিনিট।
Sorry, you're not audible.
No. Suppose import numpy as np. Suppose import pandas as pd. These are alias of the numpy alias is np, pandas alias is pd. Now, if I want to make it a data visualization, import matplot.
So your
Mat-
screen is not visible.
It is not visible.
No,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
The
It is just showing Anaconda navigator.
Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Matplotlib dot pyplot as plt. Uh, Now, just a minute. Now, import numpy as np, import pandas as pd, import matplotlib dot pyplot as plt. Now from google dot colab import files, right? Now upload equal to files dot upload, right? Now if I want to choose a file, it is already converted in CSV. How the files can be converted in CSV, then I will show in the next class. Excel file can be, how the Excel file can be converted in CSV file. Now df is equal to pd dot read underscore CSV within double quote and bracket and say diabetes.csv. Diabetes.csv. Now if I want to run, and then I am writing df dot head and I run, the out file is imported in this environment. And if I say df dot head, I want to see that first 10 rows. The first 10 rows will be visible. If I want to see the last 5 rows, then I will write df dot till the last 5 rows. The last 5 rows will be imported. Now, what is doing? I'm importing the numpy array from the library function, from the Python library, and I'm giving it the alias name of df numpy is as np. I'm importing the pandas. Also, the pandas is on another library in the Python, and I'm importing that particular library in this environment. I'm importing that library into this environment. Therefore, I'm writing import pandas as pd. This matplotlib has a huge function. I will show in the next class the various statistical graphical functions. Matplotlib. Another function of this statistical graphical is seaborn. You can use any of them, either matplotlib or seaborn. Now, I'm using this Google Colab. You can do this thing in Jupyter, but Jupyter has you have to code and it creates few difficulties, but it is very easier to do in this Google Colab. From Google Colab, if you write in the Jupyter notebook, then this code is not needed. In the Google Colab, you have to, if I want to import the file, that is the Excel file, if I want to import that particular file, Excel file, that is the CSV file, which is converted from Excel. If I want to import that particular files in this environment, then I have to write from google.colab. I have to name this environment google.colab import files. I will import that particular file into this environment. That CSV file is imported into this environment. So I'm writing from google.colab import files, and I have to up, upload that particular file into this environment. Therefore, I use the files.upload function, and I'm storing that particular file in this variable upload. Now, that how the Excel file is converted into CSV file, I will show it in next class. So this is and then the option choose file comes, and then you have to choose particular files in the CSV. And the pandas PD, this pandas use is basically this PD is used. The PD means pandas. The panda will read that particular file, the CSV file, and it will store in the data frame. The CSV file over here, that is this diabetes file. This is the diabetes file. All data are over here. And these data are not in a sequence form. So here the data, this is basically the data frame. The whole thing is basically a data frame, right? I defined this data set as data frame. So this DF is basically the data frame, that is basically the data set. The pandas will read that particular data from the data frame, and it is stored in the DF. And if I want to see the first, the by default this head function, what does head function do? This head function by default will show the first 5 values, the 5 rows, the 5 particular rows of the data set or the data frame. If I want to show the first 10 values of the data set, then I have to specify over here. Otherwise, by default, it will take the first 5 values. If I want to see the last 5 values, then I have to specify over here. So otherwise, it will show the whole. If I want to show the last 20 values, then I have to specify over here.
Sir, আপনার ভয়েসটা একটু আসবে।
If I want to show the last 20 values, then I have to specify over here. So this is what I am telling, that this in the pandas, this DF file, this DF head and tail, I had defined it today, right? Now we will see the few matplotlib functions. I say import, suppose if I say x point x points equal to np dot array one comma suppose 8 and suppose y points equal to np dot array suppose 3 comma 80. Now say plt dot plot x points comma y points, sorry, and if I say plt dot show a straight line will occur.
স্যার এই কোডটা আমি বুঝছিলাম না। ফার্স্ট যে লাইনটা লিখেছেন সেটা 1,8 কেন হলো আর সেকেন্ড লাইনে 3,80 কেন হলো স্যার?
আমি এটা একটা ম্যাটপ্লটলিব ফাংশন দেখাতে চাইছি। ম্যাটপ্লটলিব মানে ডেটা ভিজুয়ালাইজেশন। এটা প্রথমত আমরা ম্যাটপ্লটলিব ফাংশন কোথায় দেখি? ম্যাটপ্লটলিব ফাংশনটা আমরা অ্যাপ্লাই করি কোথায়? আরেকটা সফটওয়্যারে অ্যাপ্লাই করে থাকি, দ্যাট ইজ ম্যাটল্যাব, যেখানে আমরা বিভিন্ন রকম ওয়েবফর্ম দেখতে পাই, সাইনোসোডিয়াল ওয়েবফর্ম, কোসাইনোসোডিয়াল ওয়েবফর্ম, দি র্যাম ফাংশন, সেগুলো আমরা ওখানে ম্যাটল্যাবে দেখি। পাইথনেও যদি আমাকে সেই ভিজুয়ালাইজেশন, those visualization if I want to show in the Python, then I have to import the matplotlib library, and this is the matplotlib library. This is basically a data visualization. Data visualization means how the data set is visualized. The given data set is given to me. The client has given the data set to me, and what is the I want to see that particular data set in a statistical point of view. If I want to see that particular, whether it is in a scattered form, whether it is in a continuous form, whether it is in a discrete form, that I want to see that particular data set, that is whether it is in a dichotomy in nature or whether it is a continuous function. And this is simply a plotting of x and y. If I want to plot the values of x and the values of y, so this is basically a two-dimensional coordinate like coordinate system. So this is a two-dimensional plane. In the two-dimensional plane, I want to plot the point of x and y. So as np numpy is basically an array, and therefore I use the function array np dot array, and I take the arbitrary value of 1 and 8. The values of x is 1 and 8. And another, for if I want to plot with respect to y, then I take the coordinate value of 3 and 80, right? Then I want to plot the values of x and y, and then the plotting of the value of x and y is shown over here. Right? So the starting value of x and the y is shown over here, right? So it will go from 33 to 80. So the x is 1 and 8 and y is 3 and 80. The plotting, if I plot the value of x and y, it show a linear function, that is y is equal to mx plus c, that is a straight line. So in this way, a data visualization can be done using a matplotlib. So there are various data visualization that can be a frequency distribution, there may be a Poisson distribution, there is a binomial distribution, there may histograms, you can make a pie chart over here. So how these things can be made, I will show in the next class. Right? So so in the next class, I will first complete the dictionary. Then I will go to, please go to the two material of NumPy and Pandas. I will give to you in a WhatsApp group. If there is now, there are many functions of NumPy and Pandas. Now, what are the functions who are necessary for data science? Now, those functions which are given in NumPy and Pandas, all functions are necessary, but not all the functions are not regularly used in the data science. So, what are the functions which are regularly used? That I will WhatsApp you, and you will practice those functions from that material. And similarly, there is another library called SciPy. After completion of this NumPy and Pandas, I will give another material on SciPy. SciPy is also important for the data science. So I will go few functions of NumPy and Pandas, and then I will again go to the data visualization. Then we will go to the few things of the few algorithm of machine learning, and after that we will go to the MySQL part. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, fine. So any question if from your end?
So both the NumPy and Pandas we use in Jupyter book.
You can use in the Jupyter group, but it is better to do in Google Colab,
Okay, sir.
because when I go to the machine learning part and the algorithm I will show to you, those part I will do in Google Colab.
Okay, sir.
Okay, any question from your side? Okay. Okay, good night. Thank you.
Good night, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good night, sir.